All right, dashboard cameras are responsible for some of YouTube's biggest hits when it comes to accidents and road rage, but it can also be your biggest defense against staged collisions and fraud. So how can you determine whether or not this device can help you when it comes to insurance? Anne-Marie Thomas from insurancehotline.com joins me now with more. Anne-Marie, nice to see you this morning.
Nice to see you too.
All right, we're going to go through a couple of scenarios here, and you're going to enlighten us, tell us whether or not a dash camera can help us here. And let's start with the typical one. Somebody at a drive-through and they get backed into by the car in front of them. How would a dashboard cam help me in that situation?
So that's part of what you mentioned off the top there was the staged collisions. So in Ontario in particular, fraud is huge. A huge part of the premiums that we pay can be attributed to fraud. And so if someone is reversing into you, and if you have a dash camera, you can prove you didn't actually rear-end them.
All right, so that's admissible in a court if I want to take this person to
yeah,
trial?
but even more so, it's helpful to you from your insurance premium perspective. You can show that clip to your insurance adjuster and they can determine, oh, wait a minute, you're not at fault for the accident, and that saves you some insurance premium increases.
Okay, because often when something like this happens at a drive-through, if there's a dispute, the other driver could claim, oh, no, I didn't back into this person, they drove into me?
Exactly. So typically the driver who rear-ends someone has front-end damage. The driver who was rear-ended has rear-end damage. So, but in this case, it could look like the driver rear-ended the driver ahead, but that wasn't the case. So a dash cam could certainly help there.
Okay, let's move on to scenario number 2, and let's talk about maybe a bit bigger of a crash. And let's say I'm going through an intersection, another car runs a red, and there's a collision. How would a dash cam help me in that situation?
So that's to me, that's one of the places where it can help the most, because that's more likely to happen than a staged collision, I think. So when there's an intersection situation, it's often a he said, she said, right? I had the green, no, I had the green, and oftentimes an insurance company may settle that on a 50-50 liability basis because no one knows for sure unless you have an independent witness. But if you have a dash cam, that's your independent witness right there that can prove you actually had the green light and the accident's not your fault.
All right, finally scenario number 3. What if you're involved in a collision and the other driver takes off? What can a dash cam do for me there?
So a dash cam, it's quite likely that the dash cam can catch the license plate of the driver who drives away, or a description of the vehicle, something to help the police catch that offender. The reason that it's really important from an insurance perspective before anything else is that if you're involved in a collision by an unidentified third party, you have to pay your own insurance collision deductible.
Right. So in this case, if I've got that person's license plate on dash cam, I can go to the police with that?
Absolutely.
They can track down who the other driver is?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wondering, obviously this is going to save you when it comes to insurance maybe up front, but will it also, are we going to see a day where insurance companies are lowering our premiums if we've got a dash cam in our car?
It's possible. Insurance companies base their discounts on statistics and reasons that their claims payouts have been lowered. So if it's proven over, it's still fairly new, so it might take a few years to build the statistics, and it's entirely possible that we could see a discount for installing a dash cam. And these days, dash cams, you can get one for like under $100.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of statistics, just finally here, is there any stats that show that our roads are safer because of dash cams? Do we think as drivers others might have them and we're being a little more responsible?
I would like to think that's the case, but I couldn't say that is actually the case.
Yeah. All right, Anne-Marie Thomas, insurance expert. Anne-Marie, really appreciate the time with us.
Thanks so much for having me.